Greetings, greetings, greetings. Welcome to So Much to Talk About. My name is Nabaté Isles, and it's always a pleasure to share facts and viewpoints on the world of sports as well as entertainment sometimes. Before I introduce my great guest that I have tonight, make sure to go check out my past episodes of So Much to Talk About on my YouTube page, which is N as in No, S as in Sam, I as in Indigo World, NSI World, so you can see past episodes of So Much to Talk About. So without further ado, I want to introduce this gentleman who was definitely one of the great lyrical MCs that I've heard in my lifetime for sure. And he's someone that has done so much in the hip hop community for sure, but also in education as well. He was born and raised in Lansing, Michigan. He went to Michigan State. Then I met him when he moved here to New York City, and we did a lot of work together and everything. And then he moved to Minneapolis, Minnesota, spearheading a lot of concerts, cultural, musical concerts, as well as spearheading educational initiatives through his company, the Avant-Garde LLC. And this gentleman released an album called To Remain in 2018, which is definitely one of the most versatile, diverse albums you can hear for sure. I mean, he just shows a plethora of styles. And we're releasing a track together on November 27th, Black Friday, for the great Chadwick Boseman, because we have to honor him. He left a legacy for sure, and we're going to talk more about that track. But it's my honor to present Chadwick Niles Phillips on So Much to Talk About. How you doing, brother? How's everything?
I'd say all is well. People, this is my big brother right here, and it's an honor to be on this show, man. I watch it all the time, and just to be on it, I'm like, wow, I'm here. We here. So yes, all has been great, brother. All's been good.
Oh man, I really appreciate you for sure. And there's so much to talk about, literally and figuratively. Absolutely. And wow. I mean, the track that we're coming out with, Superhero, Ode to Chadwick Boseman. I heard you say a verse, like a freestyle verse, about Chadwick Boseman when he passed away in late August, I believe. God, time flies so fast.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, it's crazy. But when I heard that, I was like, it's funny because with me having a connection to Chadwick Boseman, my cousin knew him very well since he was a kid. And then with you hearing those lyrics and the fact that your government name, your first name is Chadwick as well, this was something that we had to do together. So, I mean, what did Chadwick Boseman mean to you as an individual and just as a creative thespian?
Yeah, well, men of color who are Renaissance men, those are like the top people who I look up to, as a brother myself. So when I think of the Paul Robesons, to the Chadwick Bosemans, I always identify those brothers as role models because that's the same avenue that I want to walk in. And Chadwick Boseman, he emulated that. He emulated that passion of the Miles Davises of the world, and of the Langston Hugheses. You can tell that he thought of those people as he was moving and creating his own mode and his own lane and avenue. So just seeing how he carried himself, as an upright, just class act, along with that, him becoming like very, very, very successful, but then using that as a way to give back, using that as a way to show I can be humble with the power that I have. And that's why everybody around the world shows him so much love, because of his person. Like, he was extremely talented, but even beyond that, he was just a very, very humble person. Like, when I think of him, it reminds me of someone I grew up with, like it's laid back. It just reminds me of someone I went to high school with or middle school with, and who I know just from his humility. Like, those were the type of people I was around, the ones that did a lot, but was humble about it. And that's who Chadwick was. And seeing the movie where he played Thurgood Marshall and James Brown and Jackie Robinson. The first one I saw was the Jackie Robinson movie. And automatically I was just like intrigued to know more about this brother. And just, I had someone that I could look at. And then the fact that his name was Chadwick, it's not a lot of brothers named Chadwick, like coming up. I was like the only one around the way. So seeing a brother that was at the platform he was at, with the same distinguished name, you know, automatically it linked because my name is Chadwick as well. But then just seeing how he moved was just absolutely amazing. And then when Black Panther came out, it was like something I've never seen before in my whole lifetime. The way that it gave pride to our people, how everybody was going to see it in African garb, and the hidden messages within the movie about
Yes.
uplifting our people, Africana, taking it all the way back to the ancient times, but blasting off into the future with just knowing who we are. And when the smoke clears, we have something for the next generation to follow. It was just amazing. So Chadwick Boseman forever.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Wow. And Niles, now, we had Beth Griffith-Manley, who someone had her sing on our track as well, on our track, which is coming out November 27th, Black Friday, on all digital platforms, including Bandcamp. Make sure you check it out. Check out our socials. We have Niles Got You, Niles Got You, which is on Instagram, and then myself, NSI.Universal. So yeah. Talk about Beth Griffith-Manley.
Beth Griffith-Manley is just a powerhouse R&B artist, songwriter. She's from Detroit. Shout out to the 313 Motown.
Yes.
And she's one of the like prize jewels on the R&B scene.
And her father was one of the Funk Brothers. Her father was, yes.
Yes, her father, one of the legendary Funk Brothers was her father. And so yeah, she's been on tour with Anita Baker. She's been on movie sets with Whitney Houston. Her resume goes so far. And she was a semifinalist on The Voice. She was on Team John Legend. And to see her rocking with John Legend and everything that she's been able to accomplish out of Detroit, not from Lansing, Michigan. And I have a real like special connection with with Detroit, you know? So I was hosting an event called the Quarantine Soul open mic that Nabaté performed after the pandemic hit. We still kept it moving, had a virtual situation going on. And somebody was scouting my hosting in there and was like, they wanted me to host a virtual release party for a single that she released called You Already Won. And so we was able to develop a relationship after that. And so when the song came about, I was like, Nabaté, I got the perfect person. Because her voice, it's amazing, but then when you hear her in audio, it's like, wow, like her melodies, the bed of harmonies under her voice, like she really knows what she's doing. So I was like, Nabaté, bro, I got you, bro. So I hit up Beth, and she was on a film set in Chicago. She keeps it going. Like this woman, it's not a game. Like her grind is impeccable. And she was like, you know, when I get off the set, she was like in the trailer. She was like, when I get out the trailer and, you know, to the side, I'll listen to the record and call you. She hit me up the night, like, let's do it.
Yeah.
Like that. And I knew she was gonna kill it when y'all hear her voice.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I mean, so much substance and soul and spirituality to what she brings. Absolutely. Here with Chadwick Phillips, aka Niles. Now, Niles, how come you don't go by Niles Davis? You know, the full name Niles Davis. Come on now. What's up?
So I got a line on the song. I said they called me Niles Davis in Brooklyn. Used to stay right near where Spike Lee filmed Crooklyn. You know? So my artist name used to be Alias, and I won a talent search the Hot 97 through with Koch Records. I was on Koch for a year, and so it changed from Alias to Niles, and then I added Niles Davis to it when I was in New York. So that's what they always calling me. And then, you know, Miles actually, if you look back right there, that's a Miles Davis.
Yes, that's the quintessential picture. Right, yes, indeed.
On the wall, I have the Sketches in Spain album and a couple more Miles Davis portraits. And my father's the longest tenured African-American United States Symphony Orchestra.
Sam Gill. Yes, indeed.
Sam Gill. So it's in my blood. So the Niles Davis moniker it's there. But then when I moved here, I like started everything all over and was like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, start a curriculum and really cultivate my path. So then when the smoke cleared, it was Niles, but you just restarted it right now, Nabaté. Niles Davis, yo.
Of course.
Add that back into the moniker, you know? That's how they know me in the Big Apple, so shout outs to New York.
Yes, yes, indeed. Because at first when you said Nas, I was like, huh, what? And then you said Nas there. I said, oh, okay, all right, that's all
Right.
right, that's because I liked Alias, and because I remember I texted you a couple days ago. I was like, what was your name before Nas? Remember, I forgot it. Like so Alias. Yeah. Oh man, those were good days, like of us performing
Oh
together in
man.
the late 2000s in the
Oh my
city.
gosh. This brother right
Yeah.
here, just one of the best musicians I ever came across. So talented. And to
Thank you,
see what
brother.
you've been able to accomplish, Nabaté, I already saw it happening, like me and Nabaté and the brother Sam Barch, who's a Grammy
Yes,
award-winning pianist
indeed, and the producer on my album. Yes,
and
indeed.
a
Yeah.
producer on his album. We would gig at different places, in New York City, from the Bitter End to the Blue Note to so many different spots. And then remember that one time we went to Massachusetts and we vibed out there, you
Yes,
know?
indeed. Yes,
So
at the
see what
Hookah Loud. Yep, yep.
so yeah, right. To see what this brother's been able to accomplish throughout the years, I just sat back and watched, him working with Jill Scott and Christian McBride and Fantasia and Mos Def and seeing him at the Grammys. I love seeing my people shine. Like that's the way you're
Yes.
supposed to shine, I'd say. And but then along with that, his sports show, so much to talk about, is so incredible, man. Like just
Thank
the way
you.
that you interview everything about it, man. And I'm just, happy for you, proud of you, man, and inspired as well by your homie.
Awesome. Phil,
Did y'all
man.
see that Grammy? Look at
The
look at
two
the wall right
Grammys.
there. It's the Grammys
Yeah.
right there.
Yes,
So
sir.
my
Yes, sir.
brother, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it. Same with you. Proud of you. And talk
Thank
about To Remain, about the process of making that album and just all the different tracks. I mean, you have a new video out. Please
you. Yeah,
talk about your new video too, as well, that
indeed.
people can see on YouTube. And please share your YouTube page as well,
Indeed.
too.
Yeah.
As well.
So on YouTube is YouTube/Uno Love one, but that's YouTube/UNOLUV and the number one.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the To Remain album right
Yes,
here.
indeed.
Yeah, you can tell I put money into this too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like it
Yeah,
got
you
that,
have to. I
it got
know.
that thick spine.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like if you
Yeah.
believe in it, invest in it and keep it going. So that's the To Remain album. It's a quick story. I have a quick testimony. So when I was in New York, when I met Nabaté, I was coming up on the scene out there. Ended up winning the talent search, the Hot 97 through. Ended up being on a
And I
major.
was there at that spot. I was there
Okay,
when I saw that.
man, he was. This is my. I'm telling you, we go way back.
Yeah.
So but then I learned like as much as I'm doing that, I was like 24, so just a baby in it. I was like, I need to learn more about the business and I need to cultivate myself so I could really be able to sustain, right? So while I was opening up for all these artists at the same time, to be honest, it wasn't paying. So I lived that life of the person who was on the label that still needed to get a job. People thought I was balling back home. I'm from a small city, Lansing, Michigan. They seeing me in New York on
Yeah.
BET, right? Times got rough, finances and all that stuff. And I
Yeah,
was
which
applying my degree.
yeah.
I was just going straight after it and ended up moving from New York, had to start all over. And that was like, oh my gosh, I was in New York on a major, all that love, but it was like, you have to move forward. So Nabaté, I stopped rapping for like 6 years. I just thought that I was just gonna go to, a career that was maybe within the arts, but not in music. And to be honest, when I thought about it, when I thought of what was in my grasp, it would hurt to even think about it. But then
Yeah.
seeing people like you succeed and Sam succeed and my brother Ben Williams and,
Williams, yes.
Curtis Taylor and, these are all people I've known and went to school with and all y'all won Grammys. So from afar, I was cheering y'all on, but I thought I'd just move into another lane. But then I started hosting an open mic called the Blue Now. Then I started meeting all the artists here. And then I was a little older and thinking more in a business sense. So it's almost like New York was the lesson and here is the blessing, because I'm learning from if it wasn't for New York, I would have never even had like anything to learn from,
Yeah, it made you
So
grow. Made you
I
grow.
thank the Big Apple and it was nothing but love out there. Like shout outs to the Hip Hop Culture Center in Harlem. I stayed at Corona, Queens. I know that's near Left Rack, Queens,
That's right, of course.
Corona Plaza, 103rd Plaza stop.
That's
Gotta go down the steps.
right. Yep,
I
yep.
remember that. But so I got everything back going. I started the avant-garde. I started my curriculum, hip hop history and the arts, and then I was like, it's time. But I was like, if I get back to it, I got to continue from where I left off at. In New York, I was on a major. I was like, nah, if I'm gonna do this, I gotta like plan this and continue on that prestigious level. Nabaté, the first, I started doing like local shows from an artist wise, because I was starting to be seen as a coordinator and producer. And it's like, no, I'm an artist, you know, like, so I was like, let me take a step back and really focus on the artist side while the business side is still rotating. So yeah, I started recording my album, and then Rakim, first opportunity I had to not just, I didn't perform in this, I hosted the show and co-produced the Rakim concert, man. It was, and then there was a floodgate after that. Mos Def, when
That's right.
he came here, Slick Rick,
Raekwon,
Camp Low, Pete Rock, Grandmaster Caz. They had the 40th year anniversary of Rapper's Delight, Melly Mel. So it was just like, bro, it was amazing, man. I was a part of all those. Jay Electronica. Like, so yeah, and then it built up a great buzz. Then I released To Remain, and that opened up other doors as well. You know, and my thing to independent artists, keep pushing your project. That came out 2 years ago. I'm just releasing the third single now, and there's opportunities coming from that. It's more people who need to know who you are. So if you released it and it's been 5 months, you still have like 300 in a box, you know? Start a whole new campaign, and it'll be like it just came out again.
That's right.
Yes. So To Remain is out on all digital music platforms, y'all.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Please check that album out, everybody, for sure. You know, and and now with superhero and everything, and we're being able to really push that and everything. I mean, the connection was really great in what we were able to create musically, you know, for sure. And wow, like it's just
hold on, no, hold on. I'm on so much to talk about now. I gotta take my time. I gotta straighten my This brother sent me, we call these heat rocks. Heat rock is a 10 for 10. Heat rock is a comet. It's that hot. This brother sent me just the coldest beat. It's like hot and cold. It's like the hottest and the coldest. It's cold fire. That's actually single on my album.
Cold fire, yes indeed. Yes indeed. And the video is crazy.
But thank you, brother. The beat was so, I was just sitting back listening to the beat. I was like, I don't even want to rap to it. I want to take my time with this. An incredible beat, y'all, that Nabaté made. You let me hear it over the phone. I knew
just on the piano, just the piano.
Oh my gosh. The beat alone is a rap. It's like alone, you know? So I took my time with it. And like Nabaté said, when Chadwick Boseman passed away, I instantly created a 1-verse freestyle that I put out while I was rapping on camera. It got a lot of love. And Nabaté hit me up out of nowhere. Was like, brother, we need to make that into a full song and a full campaign. I was like, let's do it. And I always wanted to make a song with Nabaté.
Yes. We always said that.
Official record with them. So and for him to be he's fully engaged in this whole process too. So and as much as he's like my brother, I still see all the accolades when I look at him. So I'm like, wow, I'm doing this with a Grammy Award. It's humbling. I'm doing this with a Grammy Award winning producer and trumpet player, you know? It's very humbling to be able to do something like this as a musician and artist myself. So y'all, this song, I can't even explain it. When y'all hear it, you're gonna feel it in your spirit. You know, and it's like a soundtrack campaign. It has this like gigantic vibe to it, to where it's more than just a song. Would you say that, Nabaté?
Yeah, it's more than that. It's a novel. It's a film. Exactly, like you know, just like it's a biopic. You know, the way you put those lyrics together and telling his story and what he was all about, and the essence that he exhibited and exuded. It's really something else. You know, like you added to it.
Yeah, and then Nabaté actually met him. Can you tell them about your story of meeting him?
Oh yeah, like in meeting him, it was so funny. It was at the Blue Note. It was a Saturday night. I remember in October. It was maybe in the third. Yeah, it was the third Saturday in October. And Robert Glasper, the great pianist and composer and producer, he has a month thing at the Blue Note, like which it was like Glasper month or something. I forgot the name they, the month they have, but he has a month of like different ensembles and everything. So this was an ensemble with Mos Def. So I went there to see Mos and say hello and catch up with him, and so it was Mos and then Robert's trio. So what happened was so I after the concert, after the second set, because I went to stick around to play with Marcus Machado, great guitar player. He was doing the after hour set.
For sure.
So I said, okay, since I'm hanging around, let me just say, because I spoke with most before the second set, but I said, let me just speak, say hello to him again and say, hey, peace out, whatever. I know I was going to be hanging there for a little bit and it was crowded. So then I saw brother coming up and I looked at his face. I said, I knew it was Chadwick Boseman right then and there. And I said, wow, brother Chadwick, it's a pleasure to meet you. And I just was like, gave him a strong handshake. I said, my cousin. And he said, who's your cousin? I said, Miss Barbara Mack. And he was like, wow. Like he was stunned, like, because to meet a relative of hers in New York, you know what I mean? It's just deep, really deep. So that's what happened. And then we had a conversation for a few minutes and everything. And he was trying to get into talk with Robert and everything and with Mos. And then afterwards, he came down like after an hour and a half from hanging out with them, came down, we got to speak and everything for a few minutes and took a picture. And so I'm glad I got to meet him, definitely. So we have that connection.
Boseman story too?
Yes, indeed.
This is a deep Chadwick Boseman story that I just found out after he passed. So first of all, that story is incredible, man. So my cousin, Yolanda, on my father's side. So I have family all in Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
But my cousin Yolanda, her husband Rodney, when they first got engaged, when he moved to New York City, he needed a place to rest his head while he was getting everything situated. Chadwick Boseman went to the same church as my cousin and uncle in New York City. Like they were in the same congregation. So Yolanda told Chadwick that her fiance needed a place to rest his head while he was still getting things situated. My cousin's husband now stayed. Chadwick Boseman opened up his place, opened up his residence for my cousin's husband to stay at for like 2 months.
It's amazing. Amazing.
It's a picture of all of them together. They have a lot of pictures with them. So that just shows how deep his heart is when it comes down to helping people. Really think about that. That's like behind the scenes. So this is it's deep, it's emotional to me because this was such an incredible person, Yes. And the chorus is your legacy forever lives to save the world and guide the kids like a superhero.
Superhero.
When they hear
I'm sorry, I gave away too much. I didn't really sing it, so I just
didn't really sing it. He just kind of like he baritoned it. It almost sounded like a trumpet. Imagine it was his trumpet.
Wow, brother, and that's the thing with him, and also Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Like I had the honor to speak with Branford Marcellus on my podcast Where They At, featured him, and that's premiering this week actually. So, with him, and we talked about Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, but which is a George C. Wolfe. George C. Wolfe directed it, who's the great director for the Public Theater. Ruben Santiago.
I saw interviews where it was him and Chadwick Boseman in the forest.
Yes.
Talking about the movie and
Yes. And then Ruben Santiago Hudson wrote the script, who's also an actor, been an actor for so around, and Chadwick Boseman plays a trumpet player. Which is really surreal, man. Like really surreal. And hopefully he'll get a posthumous Oscar. Hopefully, like a la Heath Ledger. Like Heath Ledger got that. Chadwick Boseman should get that. Viola Davis plays Ma Rainey. Of course, Viola Davis, one of our great actresses.
One of the queens, for sure.
Yes, indeed. Of any color. You know what I mean? For sure. Absolutely. Yes. So it's good. The time for it to come out is now for sure, and can't wait. Really November 27th, Friday, Black Friday. Yes, indeed.
And bro, thank you for calling me to turn that into a song.
Oh man.
I just put it. You know what I mean? So no, thanks for laying that seed down, man. Because it sparked up to be everything that it's supposed to be, man. And people, superhero, older Chadwick Boseman. Niles and Nabaté featuring the great Beth Griffith-Manley coming out November 27th. We cannot wait for you to experience this.
Yes, indeed, sir. Yes, indeed. And I wanted to ask you about Michigan State. You went to Michigan State with rich sports history and tradition. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we got hoop in high school. I hooped for 4 years. I played varsity my sophomore year, but I was like, that's a whole other story. You know?
Yeah. But going to Michigan State, being such a basketball, I mean, how is Tom Izzo like? He says my favorite quote ever: "Learn to listen, listen to learn." You know what I mean? That's my favorite quote ever. You know,
like my favorite people are people who are like successful but in the cut.
Yeah, right.
Like on campus, you'll see Tom Izzo just jogging through campus. You know, like one time I was and he walked by, I was like, Tom Izzo. He was like, hey, he has that. That's all I needed. But no, going to Michigan State was incredible, being from Lansing. And then I moved here my last year of high school. And I'll be honest with you, man, my mom was the reason why I got in, because we came up with, we didn't have a lot. So it's this program called the CAP program that was for youth who was in underprivileged situations where they didn't have enough, but they had the grades. My mom called them every single day that summer.
Wow,
if it wasn't for her. And speaking of Carolina, because Chadwick Boseman's from South Carolina, I got accepted at North Carolina A&T. It would be either North Carolina A&T or Michigan State University. My mom, if it wasn't for her, I would have been at A&T.
Wow.
Well, I wouldn't even been in college because her tenacity and she's gone. She passed away, and
God bless her soul.
I bring her up in interviews and just as much as possible because she was the surge of energy and light and power that pushed me to become who I became. And but yeah, man, MSU was an amazing experience. I stayed all around campus. I was there when Chris Hill and Allen Anderson was there.
Yeah, Lansing. Yep, former net.
Yeah. So we hooped against Allen Anderson when I lived here my last year of high school.
Oh, okay.
40 on us. I played for Park Center. He was at De La Salle. It was a wrap. And then he remembered me from like those games. I see him at the community centers. Wow. But yeah, shout out to MSU, class of 06.
Thank you so much, Chadwick. And our single coming out, Niles and Nabaté, November 27th, featuring Beth Griffith-Manley, Superhero, Ode to Chadwick Boseman. Make sure to check that out on all digital musical platforms, including Bandcamp.
Bandcamp, everywhere. Tidal, Spotify, everywhere. And we can't wait for y'all to experience this record. Me and Nabaté put so much into this. So much.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
And this is the least we could do, right? For the brother Chadwick.
Yes, indeed. Because that's how he approached life, for sure. So, wow. Niles, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you.
Left rack's on. Left rack queen. Left rack.
Right. And thank you all for watching So Much to Talk About. I'm Nabaté Isles. Take care, everybody. Be blessed. Stay woke. Be great to each other. Take care, everyone.
Chadwick Boseman, this is my tribute to you. Throughout your life, you let the light of God glisten through you. You are the pride and joy of South Carolina.